Hello everyone, I hope you're all having an excellent Sunday. Now the big match, Croatia versus Denmark, the football match starts in half an hour, so I thought I'd make the video now and upload it after the game, as I don't think I'll have enough time to publish it before. It's a game I don't know if you remember a couple of videos ago I mentioned that there was a tournament of legends being played in Platja. The tournament is played between Anatoly Karpov, Eugenio Torre, Ljubomir Ljubojevic and Anatoly Vaisser, and they will play a couple of rapid games and a couple of blitz games, and this is one of the games that was played in this tournament. So before I show you the game, we do have a nice photo challenge, so here it is. I don't have a lot of information as their website isn't all that great, but David Llada sent me a couple of photos and all of the games that were played in this tournament so far. And now, who is the gentleman next to Karpov in this photo? That is the first question, and there you can see Karpov checking out Llada's book, The Thinkers, checking himself out in the book. So for 1 point, who is the gentleman, the grandmaster next to Karpov on the right, and who is the person in the photo book next to Karpov in the photo book for some extra points. So there we have it. Best of luck to everyone. And also we have a very nice photo of Llada and Karpov. Their very nice Soviet-style photo of insane high quality, if I do say so myself. So hope you enjoyed that. And I don't have a photo of this game, but I do have a photo of Torre and Karpov playing. I believe this is from the blitz section. So here Torre is white, Karpov is black, but in this game, this one I'm showing you is from the rapid section. Here Karpov has the white pieces. So let's check it out. We have d4, knight to f6, c4 and e6. Knight to f3 and bishop to b4, the Bogo Indian defense. Bishop to d2, blocking. We have queen to e7, and now g3, preparing to fianchetto the light square bishop. Knight to c6, bishop to g2, bishop captures on d2, knight captures, and d6 now. Karpov castles, Torre plays a5, we have e4, e5, and now d5. Karpov doesn't miss an opportunity to grab more space. Knight to b8, and now knight to e1, preparing f3 to solidify in the center. Bishop to g4, attacking the queen, f3 comes, and now bishop back to d7. And here, as you can see, the bishop is on d7, the pawn is controlling c6. It's not all that easy for Torre to develop this knight. Of course, he could go something like a6, going for c5. So Karpov first plays queen to b3, attacks the b7 pawn, and here b6 is played. There is an interesting pawn sacrifice with the knight to a6. Now after queen captures, black could castle, and then of course rook to b8 would be the threat, but after queen moves, still rook to b8 comes, and after queen to c3, then c6 comes, and black would have some compensation for the pawn due to such nice activity, but there is no real advantage in doing it. Of course, capturing a pawn here would lose the queen immediately. Now after knight to b4, queen here, and now knight e8 will pick up the queen, or queen will grab rook. Either way, white would lose a queen here. But Torre goes for b6, simply solidifies the position. We have queen to c3, and now h5. And it's a very interesting, now you can see Torre played a5 and h5. This is something you can't do very often in chess, as usually your king will have to go either to the queen side or to the king side. But now it's not all that likely that Torre will ever castle. We have h4, now comes knight to a6, b3, knight to h7, and now Torre would very much enjoy pushing g5 to break open the position, maybe put some rooks on g8 and h8, and start an attack towards Karpov's king. Karpov doesn't allow it, he goes f4, and now Torre simply repeats knight to f6, as now Karpov did weaken the g4 square. a3, preparing b4, and now knight to c5. b4 comes, we have knight to a4 attacking the queen, queen to d3, and now we have castles. So Torre gives up on the idea of attacking the king side, and he does castle himself. We have knight to f3 by Karpov, knight to g4, and now rook a to c1, preparing c5 at some point. Rook f to e8. Karpov goes knight to g5, now comes f6, kicking away the knight, knight to h3, and now comes queen to f7. Here Torre gets the idea. He wants to play queen to g6, but as you'll see, the idea won't go as he planned. We have bishop to f3, and here you could play a lot of ideas. A captures on b4 is an idea, b5 immediately with a breakthrough is an idea, but Torre repeats his idea. He plays queen to g6, and this is basically a blunder of a pawn. So Karpov immediately pushes f5, attacks the queen. We have queen to h6, and bishop captures on g4. Pawn captures and knight to f2. Okay, perhaps it wasn't a pawn blunder. Perhaps Torre, perhaps it was a pawn sacrifice. As you'll see in the game, Torre will get a lot of activity for the pawn, but I'd say it was a pawn blunder. Queen to h5, defending the pawn, but now comes queen e2, and now there is no way to defend the pawn here. You could go something like king to h8 here, make room for the rook to come to g2, but here actually rook to f8 is played, so now the g pawn can be pushed forward, the f6 pawn is defended, and here we have queen captures on g4, and Torre exchanges queens. Knight captures on g4, a captures on b4, a captures on b4, and now knight to b2. Torre is now down a pawn, but his pieces will be more active. Here you could go rook a1, immediately challenge Torre's rook on the open a file, but then you get knight e3, then the b4 is under attack, and Karpov doesn't like this. So instead he plays rook to f3, not allowing the knight to go to d3, but it allows rook to a2. We have c5, bishop to b5, and now c captures on d6. C captures on d6, and now rook to c2. Now Karpov is still up a pawn, but the b pawn is not all that strong. We have rook to a1 check, king to h2, knight to d3, threatening knight to e1, forking the rooks. We have rook to e3, and here rook f to a8, doubling up on the a file. Immediately capturing the pawn doesn't work for black because of rook to b2, now attacking the knight and the bishop behind the knight, if the knight moves, of course. And after rook to a2, rook to b3, rook captures, and now bishop to e2, attacking the undefended knight on g4. Rook captures, bishop captures, and here rook captures on b6. White still keeps his extra pawn and should win this endgame. So after rook to e3, not immediately going for the pawn, but first rook fa8. And here, of course, now the same idea wouldn't apply, and Karpov has to go. Karpov must play knight to f3. He has to give up the pawn. After rook here, rook protects rook with rook to e2. Now rook to a4, and now there is no way to protect the b4 pawn, but you have to allow this. Rook e3, and now rook captures. It's the only way White can proceed playing this position. You have to give it up, at least to activate your pieces. But here, after rook f8, Karpov plays king to h3. He doesn't allow rook to a2 to be played with any checks or pinning ideas. Here, rook to h1 check is played, and now Karpov, the only choice for Karpov here is king to g2. You have to allow ideas like knight e1, and then after king captures, knight captures, going for more exchanges, attacking the rook, attacking the pawn. But there's no way around this. Here, fortunately for Torre, instead of king g2, Karpov played knight to h2, and this is actually a blunder that loses the game. But fortunately for Karpov now, Torre misses the idea. Here, Torre played rook a to a1. He wants to go and grab this b pawn immediately, and it's as they say, what's the saying? You can't see the forest because of a tree or something like that. He goes for the pawn, and he misses an even greater idea, because after knight to h2, feel free to pause the video here and find the idea Torre missed. It's not very difficult. I'm pretty sure you're all going to see it immediately. David Llada posted on Facebook and Twitter saying that it was a case of mutual hallucination, that even after the game was over, when they were analyzing it, they didn't find this idea, but Llada says that he saw the idea, and that but he was reluctant to say anything, thus missing his chance to tell the legends what they missed. But that happens. Here, for those of you who found it, congratulations, you are a great tactician, And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, here knight to f2 check. Simply checking the king, not allowing the king to go to g4. King has to go back, and now of course comes rook captures on h2. King captures, knight g4 check, checks the king, wins the rook. You have to move the king. Now knight captures on e3. Black is up a whole piece, winning the game easily. But after knight to h2, Torre misses this. He plays rook a to a1, like we said, going after the b pawn. Knight d to f3. We have rook to b1, attacking the pawn, rook to d2, and now comes knight captures on b4. So Torre grabs the pawn. And it's not that Torre is now worse or anything. He's even better. He equalized in material, and his position is much more active. But, you know, if you can win a game instantly, you should definitely do that. We have g4 by Karpov, and now comes rook h to d1. Rook h to d1, now Torre blunders the game. Torre's position is excellent here. He should go king f7, improve the position, you know, just keep everything going. But he plays rook h to d1, and now Karpov capitalizes on this mistake. Simply rook captures, and rook to b3, winning material. Of course, the bishop to f1 check, knight captures, rook captures, and here, of course, if you capture, then black can capture here. But Karpov played king to g2, and Torre resigned the game. Why did he resign? Well, of course, you do have to move the rook. After rook moves, rook captures on b4 is coming, and now white is up a whole piece, thus easily winning the game. So yeah, after king to g2, Torre resigned the game, and like I said, they're not really doing an excellent job with the website, as I can't even find any information if this tournament has finished. But I did get, like I said, all the PGNs from David Llada, and here are the official standings. I mean, they are standings, but it doesn't say if the tournament is over. It says that the tournament is still being like held on 1st of July, and I don't know if there are any games played today. So unfortunately, I do not know if the tournament is over, but if it is, and chances are it is, but I will have to confirm this. As you can see in the rapid section of the tournament, Karpov won 4 points, Torre 1, Ljubojevic 2.5, and Vaisser 4.5. So Anatoly Vaisser won the rapid section of this tournament. But in the blitz section, it's actually Karpov who won the blitz section 1 whole point ahead of Anatoly Vaisser. Torre got 3 points and Ljubojevic 5 points in blitz. So if these are the final standings, it appears that Anatoly Karpov won the tournament half a point ahead of Anatoly Vaisser, followed by Ljubomir Ljubojevic and then Eugenio Torre. But yeah, I will have to confirm this, and as this is the Tournament of Legends, I will show probably another game, and hopefully I will have more information for you. If any of you do have any information regarding this tournament, you know, of course, feel free to share in the comments so we can all, you know, enjoy the information. I would like to thank Peter Rangelov, Stefan Hein, Mike Emery Golf, and Dale Hamilton for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check all my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, hopefully with another interesting video, probably going back to 1936 Capablanca and Botvinnik series. And, you know, let's check out Croatia versus Denmark. Starts in 13 minutes. See you soon.